Welcome to BPKA News. Today we'll be talking about a more controversial topic than usual, human trafficking. Okay, the definition of human trafficking is the action or practice of illegally transporting people from one country or area to another, typically for the purposes of forced labor or commercial sexual exploitation. However, what the definition fails to explain is the immense emotions and life-destroying consequences that human trafficking has on everyday people that are forced into work or sex exploitation.
Human trafficking is a violation of human rights and does not just affect immigrants and people from other countries. Human trafficking concerns in almost every country in the world. Here in Bay Area there are over 499 total survivors reported. However, there are different kinds of human trafficking and different ways that everyday people can be affected by. Today, the UNODC is fighting to combat the human trafficking every day, but still not enough.
Based on the estimated 4,000 cases of sex trafficking that were reported in the U.S. and the fact that it has been going on for thousands of years, how has this number changed over time, and how has this change impacted the youth in the U.S.? How can we increase awareness of this issue, and what are individuals doing specifically in the Bay Area to change the socio-political structure in order to combat human trafficking?
As the years have gone on, the number of reported human trafficking cases has increased, demonstrating the need for action on this growing issue. The increase in human trafficking means that every year, more and more youth are being subjected to the traumatizing practice. Therefore, in order to raise awareness for this issue amongst the general population of the Bay Area, victims should be encouraged to reach out to help, to share their stories, and to create safe places for other victims to reach out and build a support structure. Additionally, individuals today are working to bring awareness by creating new units for tackling human trafficking and creating new communities with government funding, while people in the Bay Area community can realize the enormity of the problem and do their part to help the numbers shrink.
Why is human trafficking important? More and more people are falling down every single day by listening to the story of the people who is escaping human trafficking and looking and reading about the changing of status in Bay Area. We can better understand the impact of problems and learn how human trafficking has changed over time and how the affection of human trafficking have impacted the youth in the U.S.
This is the chart of human trafficking of 1,305 of case reporting and 3,998 calls in 2017. This chart is a type of trafficking like sex trafficking, 1,009, labor trafficking, 167, trafficking type not specified, and sex and labor. These cases gather into 1,305 cases about different types of sex trafficking.
In a TED Talk video from Barbara Amaya, she shares her experience of being human trafficked for 10 years.
In 6th, 7th grade, that feeling of excitement, wanting to belong, but yet being very, very, very vulnerable. That's what traffickers prey upon, vulnerability. Whether it's a 12-year-old runaway or a 35-year-old man trying to find money to feed his family. It's vulnerable populations being preyed upon.
In the video, Barbara Amaya speaks of her personal experience in human trafficking. She was trafficked from age 12 to age 22, and in the video, she shocks listeners with an intense story of how she became brainwashed and she became the criminal, not the victim. She was, as Amaya says, programmed not to escape and not to do anything about the situation she was in.
Through her talk, she provided insight about how it's so hard to escape and how hard it is to be seen as a victim.
Despite the increasing awareness about this topic, there are still more interactive steps that can be taken. Because citizens alone cannot create their change themselves, people in a community need to inspire change in their community by speaking up about their opinions on the matter to their governmental representatives. On the website sfexaminer.com, it says, "Every year we keep hearing people talk about human trafficking," Gasson said, "but then we go and continue to do business the same way, and then we wonder why we continue to be one of the major focal points of human trafficking in the country. and yet we're not addressing this problem the way we should.
Gascon is the district attorney from San Francisco. As seen in the quote, he is trying to finally do something about human trafficking in SF. He's making a bold claim that what we are doing is not enough and is asking for $1.4 million. But if it can help stop human trafficking, it would definitely be worth the investment for San Francisco. The rates of sex trafficking has gone up throughout the years, and we have only been here sitting and watching the news as more people fall victim. People like you and me can help human trafficking by learning about the future plans and cities in the Bay Area that are getting involved. We can also step up and look for signs of human trafficking in our cities and communities and the people around us every day. Coming from the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, they talk about how exactly they are combating human trafficking with a new global plan of action to not punish the people who are already victims and create protection and psychological support for the trauma they have gone through. They state that the only way to end human trafficking is by working together between states and within regions, among United Nations entities, and in public-private partnerships. By creating a nationwide way to combat human trafficking, maybe something will finally be done. Coming from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, people like you and me are able to learn what human trafficking really is, how it's being fought today, and what we can do. Through the Blue Campaign, DHS raises public awareness about human trafficking, leveraging and partnerships to educate the public to recognize human trafficking and report suspected instances. The Blue Campaign also offers training to law enforcement and others to increase detection and investigation of human trafficking and to protect victims and bring suspected traffickers to justice. There are so many misconceptions about human trafficking. I find many interviews and articles where the question, "Why didn't you just escape?" is asked. As seen in the Blue Campaign of DHS that I just quoted, victims can be anyone, and it can happen anywhere. In a country like the U.S., many people think we're too advanced to have human trafficking occurring, but the truth is, it happens 100%. The only difference is that it's hidden. Victims can't just come out and tell the world they're trafficked or have been trafficked. Traffickers feed off vulnerability, and they may fear for themselves or their family. The DHS places an equal value on identifying and stabilizing victims and investigating and prosecuting the traffickers.
Human trafficking has been going on for a very long time, and its frequency is ever increasing in the U.S. These experiences have had visible physical, psychological, and emotional impact on its victims, namely American youth. Therefore, people must help raise awareness of human trafficking and must bring this tremendous issue to their political representatives in order to combat this issue at a socio-political level.
As the years have gone by, human trafficking statistics are constantly rising, and these are only those which have been reported, which shows a significant need for action. In order to raise awareness amongst the general populace of the Bay Area,
Those who have been human trafficking should be encouraged to express how these experiences have hurt them, have crossed to receive help, and be able to set up safe space for others who have been through similar experiences. In addition, many in the Bay Area have also begun founder organizations that there are go towards stopping spreading the human trafficking and emphasize those who have already been humanizing by human trafficking.
when we look back in history, we see issues that we see as unthinkable, such as slavery. However, if we take a closer look at human trafficking, there are many similarities between the current human trafficking crisis and other issues today. It's hard to find a fast and effective solution, and we always have to ask ourselves every day, is what we're doing enough? Thank you for joining us with BPKA News. See you next time. Everyone wave. Yeah.